Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. Now pray for the soul of this explorer. It's time for 31 Days of Horror.
Hello again, Terence McGuana here, and welcome back to the 31 Days of Horror. And today I'm going to bend the rules a little bit. I've already bent my mind out of shape, so I may as well bend these rules, eh? And the film I'm going to talk to you today about is 1994's Ed Wood. Now, one of the reasons that I chose Ed Wood as one of the 31 Days of Horror is it was requested by a YouTuber here who subscribes to my channel called Fever Dreamland Theatre. If you've not subscribed to his channel, you are sincerely missing out. He features a lot of great videos on different films, and in particular he does great analysis of episodes of the original Twilight Zone, which I haven't watched them all. Haven't watched all the episodes of the original Twilight Zone, just the first 2 seasons, to be honest. And once I've caught up to them, I'm going to absolutely binge his channel, because he's shown me things about episodes that I love that I was absolutely unaware of. There was a recent one he did on To Serve Man. To Serve Man, what a brilliant episode of the Twilight Zone, which fortunately I have had the pleasure of seeing the original episode, so I was just in heaven watching his video about it. What a great man. And also I just want to say as well that Fever Dreamland Theatre had just recently won Horror Tuber of the Month, and he absolutely deserved that. Hats off to you, good sir. What a great award, and you absolutely deserve that, right? So let's get into Ed Wood from 1994. Hollywood outcast Edward D. Wood Jr. is determined to make it as a film director, and after a chance meeting with down-on-his-luck horror icon Bela Lugosi, Ed and his misfit friends go off to make cinematic history by any means necessary. I first saw this film at the UCI in Clydebank in 1995. I used to get these free tickets all the time from the newspaper to preview screenings of films. Now I know it came out in America in 1994, but it took a long time for films to reach this country, 6 months sometimes. And the weird thing was, one of the things, I remember staying up late to watch the Academy Awards, which finished at like 5 in the morning, and I went to school the next day. Stayed up watching the Academy Awards and went to school the next day because I wanted to see Samuel L. Jackson win Best Supporting Actor for Pulp Fiction. I felt that he absolutely deserved it. And when I saw Martin Landau, who was an actor at the time that I wasn't too familiar with, right, to be honest, I saw Martin Landau beat Samuel L. Jackson. I just screamed, Hollywood racism, Hollywood racism. Yeah, they give it to the old guy, just because he's never had an Oscar before, where Samuel Jackson, when I will strike down upon thee, he should have got that. He should have got that award. That's what my mind thought at the time. That's what I thought at that time, is that Samuel Jackson got robbed that night. But I got free tickets to see Ed Wood about a month later, after Martin Landau picked up his golden baldy, and you know what? I completely and utterly changed my tune. Once I saw Martin Landau as Bela Lugosi, it was just, I was just absolutely blown away by this performance. And Ed Wood itself, what an incredible film. What I love about this film is it shows a real love for filmmaking, the real passion for filmmaking. I know that it's not a horror film, but it is set in that world. Ed Wood was a horror film director. Plan 9 from Outer Space is an absolute classic in my eyes. I know it's a terrible film. It's absolutely atrocious, right? I watched The Hand and Panga last week, right after each other. 2 of the most boring films that I've watched in a long time. And I would much rather be watching Plan 9 from Outer Space, Edward D. Wood Jr.'s awful masterpiece. Because the thing about Plan 9 from Outer Space, it is not a boring film. Yes, it's terribly made, the effects are shoddy, the acting's atrocious, the dialogue is just awful, but it is not a boring film. Honestly, Plan 9 from Outer Space, for all of its flaws, it moves. It actually has a pace to it, it actually has some momentum to it. Strange that, isn't it? And it's weird, people all chomp the bit about Tommy Wiseau. They all talk about Tommy Wiseau in The Room. Don't get me wrong, The Room is hilarious, right? It's a hilariously bad film, but it is so boring. It is such a boring film. It's nice to just watch clips online of, you know, hi Mark, all that stuff, you know, all that really awful dialogue. It's great to just watch it in little segments. See, to actually sit and watch The Room, it's a real slog to get through, but Plan 9 from Outer Space, it isn't. It is a hilarious B-movie, and it is really interesting to see how they made that film. And I know that there's a lot of fictitious elements to Ed Wood. Even though Bela Lugosi swears like a sailor in this film, apparently he never swore in public, right, ever. And you know, you never saw him. People testify that Bela Lugosi didn't use foul language, but that's not the point of this film. This film is there to entertain. You don't go to the cinema for a history lesson. If you go to the cinema for a history lesson, then you're completely and utterly mistaken, right? Hollywood does not teach history. They finesse it. They change it all about. They mix it all up for entertainment purposes. That's what they do. That's why Braveheart's so crap, right? Braveheart is a pile of lies, right? Every single historical film is a pack of lies to some extent, right? Even Malcolm X has fictition throughout it, just to get that emotional connection. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with a biopic or a piece of history changing things about, right? I'm fine with it, but don't lose the essence of the story. Malcolm X to me is a masterpiece of cinema, and it doesn't lose its focus on what it's trying to portray here. And that's the same with Ed Wood. Ed Wood, and I've seen people criticise Tim Burton in this film because Ed Wood didn't behave that way. Johnny Depp's performance is quite a cartoon performance. It is quite a heightened performance. He's not playing a realistic character. He's playing Ed Wood as though he's one of the characters in his films. And I think that's a really interesting choice. I think it's a good choice, right? It makes the film have more texture. You can't expect reality when you go to the cinema. You're getting a dramatisation of reality, and I can't see any flaws with this film. It is perfect, and especially I love the total bromance that's going on between Ed Wood and Bela Lugosi. Their friendship is just the absolute spinal column to this film. There is some really hilarious moments, and there are some actually quite heartbreaking moments in it as well. The one that always stands out for me, and I remember watching this as a, how old was I? 16? No, I was 15, coming on 16, right? At the time when I first saw Ed Wood in the cinema, and it was the first time I'd seen a black and white movie in the cinema, so that was really exciting for me. You know, it just felt magical. Roger Ebert always said, you know, that to see a film in black and white is like to see a dream, you know, because we don't see life in black and white. So to see a film in black and white is, you know, it's a break from the norm. I feel that way as well about black and white. I think there's something magical about black and white movies, whereas some people just like, oh, black and white movies, oh, can I watch that? Oh, it's subtitled, can I watch a subtitled movie? Oh, I've got to read the movie all the way through it. No, I mean, that's just no on me. No. I remember one time a woman came into a DVD shop, Blockbuster or something like that, and she took back a film, and it was Pan's Labyrinth. She took back Pan's Labyrinth, and she says, I want my money back. I didn't know this had subtitles. Pan's Labyrinth. Can you imagine that? Or she's away to get Wedding Crashers. She's away to get Bride Wars instead. Yeah, go watch Bride Wars. You know, just what an idiot. I'm sorry, you're an idiot. If you can't watch Pan's Labyrinth because it's subtitled, you're a dunce, right? Away you go. But anyway, back to Ed Wood. Ed Wood is just a fantastic movie. When I was talking about there is this real moment of pathos in it that really saddens me every time I watch it. And I don't want to offend anyone who's in the United States, right? But I do feel blessed to live in this country because we have a national health service, right? We have a national health service here in the UK. Our national insurance that we pay towards the government that comes out of our pay goes towards the national health service. And I'm grateful for that. I'm so grateful that we have that, because there's this moment in Ed Wood where the film itself criticises the American healthcare system. And there's this moment where Bela Lugosi is in hospital, and he's not got enough money to pay his doctor bills. He's not got enough money to pay his doctor bills, and Ed goes to see him, and he says to him, "Oh, you're all better now. Come on, we'll take you home." And he's like, "Eddie, I don't feel better." You know, he doesn't feel better, you know, but he's trying to be nice to him. Instead of him saying, "Look, Bella, we don't have the money, we need to leave the hospital," Bela Lugosi, you know, he's trying to comfort him in this way by saying that he's better, which is just heartbreaking. Such a heartbreaking moment, and I just saw that as an indictment on the American system of healthcare. Most of this film focuses on the sort of comedic elements of trying to make a film, and there are a couple of films I really love films about filmmaking. I've always fancied myself as a filmmaker, but those dreams are long gone, right? Other films like this that come to mind are Living in Oblivion, The Player. What other great ones? There's this one, Badass, with Mario Van Peebles directing the making of Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, which was directed by his late father, Melvin Van Peebles, God rest him. That is a brilliant film. I think that's probably my favourite. Of all these sort of filmmaking movies, my favourite is Badass. Badass was absolutely perfect. But, you know, that came in the wake of Ed Wood. Up until that point, Ed Wood was always my favourite filmmaking movie. And I read somewhere that Tim Burton kind of identified with Ed Wood, in the sense that even though he's a very talented filmmaker and successful filmmaker, Tim Burton, he identified with that fact that you're always doubting yourself. You're always thinking, maybe this will just be absolutely horrible. And to be honest, I would rather watch Plan 9 from Outer Space than watch some of Tim Burton's films. Sweeney Todd and Planet of the Apes, oh no, they were a disappointment for me. Sorry, right? But yeah, Ed Wood's not. Ed Wood to me is Tim Burton's best movie, by far. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Beetlejuice, I love Batman, and Edward Scissorhands, love them to death, right? But Ed Wood just took it to another level. I'd never seen a Tim Burton movie that had this balancing act of comedy and pathos. But what more can I say about it? The cast is perfect. Every actor in this film is absolutely perfectly cast. Especially, and one I thought was a real standout was Sarah Jessica Parker. I'm not particularly a fan of Sarah Jessica Parker. I absolutely loathe the Sex and the City, right? And my subscribers are just going to hemorrhage after I say that, right? But I've never really understood that show. I just find it's just sort of consumerism on television, and the films are just as bad, right? Especially the one they went to Abu Dhabi. Oh, you wouldn't believe the amount of times I've had to sit through that, right? I would rather watch Cannibal Holocaust on a loop than have to watch Sex and the City 2 again, believe me, right? That is just absolutely depressing. Such a depressing film to me. But yeah, Sarah Jessica Parker, never really appreciated her as an actor, but in Ed Wood, I thought she was perfect. I thought she was absolutely perfect. And, you know, Bill Murray's in it, right? Any time that Bill Murray's on the screen in this film, he just gets a laugh. And that's usually the case with Bill Murray, but I really liked him as Bunny Breckenridge. He's a really good character. Another reason that I added Ed Wood to the 31 Days of Horror is because I do feel that it does feel like a Halloween film. There is even a Halloween sequence in it where Bela Lugosi tries to scare some trick-or-treaters at the door and fails miserably, even though he is the quintessential Count Dracula. And Ed Wood comes out taking out his front teeth that he's got and just scares them all away. There is a very Halloween vibe to this movie. I think it would be perfect. I would say that if you were going to watch this, I would do it as a double bill with Plan 9 from Outer Space. Watch Plan 9 from Outer Space and then watch this. Now, Plan 9 from Outer Space is just absolutely hilarious. Some of the lines in it, you could not honestly write this stuff. You couldn't honestly, on purpose, sit and write some of the dialogue from Plan 9 from Outer Space. They'll be out there, and you'll be up there, and I'll be in there. Right, I think I've said enough about Ed Wood. And Anthony, once again, I just want to congratulate you on Horror Tuber of the Month. You so absolutely deserve that. I can't wait to get through all those Twilight Zone episodes and then finally sit and binge through your channel. Honestly, you're never going to get rid of me. Honestly, I'm just going to pester you till the end of time with comments about this and about that, about the Twilight Zone. Your channel is perfect. And also, If you like this video, click like. If you don't like the video, don't click. Don't do that. Come on, click like. Come on, click like. That's it. Come on. If you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the subscription button. I'll be back tomorrow night with more 31 Days of Horror, and I'll have a proper horror film this time. Okay, I know I'm cheating here talking about Ed Wood, but I'll have a proper horror film this time. But yeah, I do feel that this movie would be perfect for Halloween, so check it out. If you've never seen it before, you're in for an absolute treat. And if you've seen it before, give it another go. What a great movie. So hilarious. Good night.